Hello and welcome to your in-depth weekly horoscope for week commencing the 30th of May for the Sun or the Ascendant. I'm going to give you the standout issues and strands to look out for. Please stay with me. I will then dive deep to give you in forensic detail each of the 12 zodiac sign forecasts. Now this week of course begins with a new moon in Gemini. Now, Gemini energy is all about how we think. It's very nimble and agile, can be very amusing, very much to do with sharing ideas and interacting in a bright and bubbly way. But of course, the moon is very much how we feel about things, and the sign of Gemini is very much more about how we assess things from a more logical viewpoint. So one of the things that we can do over the next month is to meld our drive and our ideas much more closely to how we actually feel. So it's an opportunity for sure. Now, this is also a week when Mars and Jupiter continue to be very closely together. The exact conjunction actually happened as last week came to a close. So that combination can give us a lot of thrust, a lot of traction, a lot of enthusiasm in the sign of Aries. That's very much about getting things off the ground. But both the position of Mars and Jupiter are forging a relatively positive angle to Venus, which of course has now returned to the sign of Taurus, which it governs. So that thrust and the ideas energy that the new moon has given us in Gemini can certainly see us working towards making the most of our resources, which Venus in Taurus can be very good at grappling with. It can also give us an appreciation of good food and good wine and more sensual pleasures as well. But then on Friday, Mercury ends its retrograde, also in the sign of Taurus. So, we've all being challenged by this new financial reality which is kicking in, and it has been retrograde since the 10th of May and in the sign of Taurus since the 23rd of May. But then on Saturday, Mercury comes out of shadow, but also Saturn goes into a retrograde in the sign of the people, the collective, the sign of Aquarius. So it's possible through to the 23rd of October that we're going to be more mindful, I think, over a period of time of how connected we are to one another. I'm going to do a special on the fact that Saturn and Uranus are going to go through a square again within 3 degrees from the 11th of August. So please look out for that. But the other thing to tell you is that Mercury, despite that retrograde, is actually in a very subtle but powerful link to Neptune. So one of the things that we can do this week is listen to our hunches, because they can serve us very well indeed. So Taurus, your week commencing the 30th weekly forecast is really lit up, I think, most of all by the fact that Venus has returned to your sign. If you have been doing some major soul searching around your relationship situation, I can't necessarily say it's completely at an end, because with Jupiter and Mars combined in your 12th house, maybe there's someone you're drawn to. It could be someone from your past. It could be a more confidential or even clandestine relationship that those two can stimulate. But in terms of how you feel about yourself, I feel you're wanting to move forwards a little bit. And Venus in your own sign is brilliant, for giving yourself some kind of makeover. But of course, because Mercury has been dragging its feet in a retrograde in your sign from the 23rd of May, I think it moving forwards now is going to really liberate you. You're not going to feel that it's a case of 1 step forwards and 2 steps back. By the end of this week, things will be falling into place. But I still think that a past skill, contact, ability can be repackaged in some kind of new, fresh and more dynamic way. and that can take you forwards. But with Saturn going into a retrograde, I think when it comes to your long-term work situation or responsibilities, this could be a time when you actually make real progress, but you probably will have to work your absolute socks off. But I think using those past experiences and talents, or connecting to someone that you've known in the past, can be a great way to make progress. But I think hard work will be needed, and something that was important to you in the past in terms of status or a job situation, it may lose a little bit of its luster, because I think what you're really wanting, especially with the new moon, is to feel fulfilled in terms of your self-worth. And sometimes just being in a really good job or being well paid, if it's not very satisfying, if we're not doing something we really enjoy, just the money being right is not enough to feed us. So I think the fact that Jupiter and Mars are in your 12th house is asking you to think very deeply still about how you can make the most of that inner spark, which is a major part of you.